ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Om, may He protect us both. May we both enjoy together. May we both exert together. May our studies become brilliant. May we not become disputatious and hate each other. Om, peace, peace, peace. Welcome back to the online classes. So last time, dhyayato vishayan punsah sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kama. I'll explain that. The whole thing we did from thought to attachment to desire, how there is a fall. Once upon a time, Kubera, the god of money. Many people think the god of money is Lakshmi. Actually, it is not. Lakshmi is the goddess of wealth. Wealth represents higher values in life. God of money is Asura. He's an Asura. He's a cousin of Ravana, basically. So Kubera wanted everybody's respect, but this one guy, one person, one god would not give him the respect, and that was Shiva. So he went to Shiva and said, I am going to give a big party. All the gods and all the Danavas, all the human beings, the kings especially, are invited to this. Please do come and grace the occasion. So the idea is whenever anybody comes to grace the occasion, the Yajman will be standing in the door, welcoming everybody, and the other person should say salutation, and then they will enter. So at least in this way, Shiva will bow before this person. Immediately, Shiva says, I can't come. I'm sorry, Kubera ji, I am not able to come. Do one thing. Why can't you take my son, Ganpati? He likes to attend parties, so you take him. So he says, you can also come. No, no, I said, I'm too busy. And he says, okay, never ask a spiritual person busy doing what. They may give you different answers, okay? So don't ask that. So she didn't make the question to ask. Kubera did not do anything to ask Shiva. He said, okay, let Ganpati come, no problem. But he said, just be careful of this fellow. He's very mischievous and he is always very hungry. You know, he likes to eat. Oh, no problem. We have got enough food there. Don't worry. So the date was appointed. Ganpati came there and he saw all the festivities. Kubera said, come, come, come. Ganesha said, and he gave food to everybody. And in the same line, he made Ganpati also sit. Ganpati, you know, he had that trunk. So by the time everybody, God was taking in the hand and trying to eat, he just put the trunk and the whole thing went inside. And then he's looking up whether anything else is there. So Kubera said, see, feed him again, his plate is empty. So again his plate, sir, it went on. And then Ganpati was more hungry. Kubera had nothing to do because there is a time limit between going into the kitchen and bringing the food. So not to waste time, Ganpati got up and went straight to the kitchen. And he went to the kitchen where all these big, huge vessels were there and they were making all these goodies. He just went, ransacked and ate the whole thing. Then he was feeling more hungry. So he looked at the festivities of these trees and plants and lovely decorations, and he started eating that too. Now Kubera got frightened because he said that this guy is like a Asura. He's eating. There's an Asura is eating more decently than this fellow. And he's just making the whole thing vanish. He immediately called Shiva and said, please save my yajna. Your son is creating a havoc. Shiva said, no problem. And he came. And Ganesha, he still wants to eat something. So Shiva gave him something in his hand. Ganesha ate it and then he got satisfied. This is the story. Simple story about how father gives something and the son is satisfied. That is not the story. I'm just giving an excuse. The real meaning is Ganesha is like a normal human being. When they are interacting in the world, the hunger is never satisfied. Whatever I want more. I've told this many times. So many times, hunger never satisfies. The more money, the more reputation, the more name, fame, power, position, society, how the society thinks about me as a human being. All these things are made run for. And the hunger is never satisfied by Kubera, who is considered to be the god of money. As much as you can have, yet you'll not be satisfied. And ultimately, when the satisfaction comes, when that teacher, that guru, who is in a meditative state, Shiva, he gives a little bit of rice in Ganpati's hand. It's not even a normal rice, it is burnt rice. Rice, when you germinate, it grows into plant and it gives further rice, paddy. But when he gives burnt rice, you can't germinate the burnt rice. So the burnt rice represents the vasanas which are finished off. They are not going to germinate further. Why I'm giving you this story is, one person asked in the previous class when we were explaining Dhyayato Vishayan Punsa Sangasteshu Upaya. So it starts with a thought, the snowball effect. The diagram was given. It starts with a thought. Thought comes into attachment. Attachment becomes a desire. Then there is a fulfillment and non-fulfillment of desire. If the desire is fulfilled, then you get greedy. Then arrogance comes. Then envy comes. Then fear comes. And any one of these emotions can lead you to anger, state of confusion, deploration of intellect. Intellect gets finished, loss of memory, and eventually you get destroyed. So whether the desire is fulfilled, you end up in destruction. Whether the desire is not fulfilled, you end up in destruction. So should we not have desire? Of course, there is nobody in the world who doesn't have desires. Nobody. Not even a person speaking here or anywhere in the Himalayas. Desire will be there. The only difference is the arrogance and the ego, the claimant saying, I am doing this, is not there. That's all we have to do. So how do we go about it? Don't become a selfish personality. When you live a selfish life, then all these emotions come through you. The 6 children, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Madha, Matsarya, Bhaya. 6 children will be there. You will be afraid of everything. You'll get angry at everything. You'll be envious. All these relationships until the focus is me and my life. But as soon as the focus shifts from what can I get and look what has happened to me, to another vision of what can I do? How can I be of some service to anyone for that matter? As soon as the thought deviates or moves towards that, you will not go through any of these emotions. Cannot. You'll not be afraid of anything. Fear of what? You'll only be afraid when you have something to lose. If you don't have anything to lose, no fear. Anger towards whom? Every situation or difficult people, when they come to me, they tell me where I've gone wrong. I learn from that experience and move on. So anger against whom? Arrogance against whom? I don't have anything which the other person does not have. Envy against whom? I have everything. I am the mighty God himself. There is nothing more which I need in life. I'm sustained, well contented. When you reach this state, then the next verse comes. Raga dvesha viyuktaistu Vishayanindriyaishcharan Atmavashyervidheyatma Prasadhamadhigacchati Ragadvesha Viyuktaistu. Getting rid of likes and dislikes. I'll just first read the translation, then we'll go into explanation. But the self-controlled man, free from likes and dislikes, moving amongst objects with his senses under control, attains peace. Raga Dvesha Viyuktaistu. So the person is free from likes and dislikes. Vishayan Indriyaishcharan. He is moving around within the sense objects. First thing, people say that if you want to be spiritually evolved, reach a particular state, give up the sense objects. There was this one person, student, who went to a great guru and he asked the guru, please give me Brahma Vidya. I want to learn what life is all about. I want to reach the highest state. Highest state is what? Highest state is where there is no agitation at all. Come what may, I am never disturbed. That state is the highest state. Please teach me that great subject of Vedanta. He said, no problem, but I'll have to interview you. And then he says, okay, do you smoke? He says, yes, I smoke only once after digestion, after food, to digest the food. He says, what are you doing? You're not supposed to smoke. You know what it does to the liver and the lungs? Stop it. He says, okay, I'll stop it. Then he says, what about drinks? He says, I'm a social drinker, just a little bit, I think. I don't drink much. You should not consume alcohol. It will finish you off. Stop it. Stops it. Then, have you ever eaten non-veg or do you eat non-veg? He said, no. Only fish. I don't eat anything else. Because in England and places like this, fish is considered to be vegetarian. So it's English, it's okay, I eating a little bit of fish, non-veg. No. But are they not living beings? You are killing living beings and you want to learn these highest scriptures? Stop it. So, okay, stop. Do you have anybody, a boy or a girl? Actually, that is the reason I've come, sir. After 6 months, I'm going to get married. She's a very beautiful girl. And that's why before entering to the samsara, I want to learn how to tackle her. So that there should not be any problem between me and her. There should not any. So I should understand her. She should understand. That is the reason I want to. You are trying to enter into the samsara and you want to learn about how to deal with the samsara. Now, drop that girl. He says, okay. And within 20 minutes, the guru gives the student 20 items to drop. He writes the list. The student says, drop this, drop this, drop this, drop this, drop this. And he looks at the guru and he understands he has to drop. He drops the guru. It is better to drop the guru, the one person to drop rather than these 20 things. So when they say raga, dvesha, moving among sense objects, it is very difficult. One group says, don't get into it. So when you are not into it, you end up a suppressed, repressed personality. The other group says, no, there's nothing wrong. Just go on indulging. Keep on indulging right, left, and center. Ultimately, one day, you know what will happen? Your mind will get tired of all indulgences. And that's where you will reach a higher state of spiritual evolution. I'll tell you a secret. It's an open secret, by the way. The mind never gets tired. When your mind last got tired seeing a movie, when your mind last got tired eating junk food or whatever it is, it will never get tired. So these two categories are there. So when they say raga dvesha viyuktaistu, be away from likes and dislikes. Simple. Start with one factor. You don't need to leave anything in the world. Just start with one factor. What I like, is it good for me? What I like, is it good for me? If it is good for me, take it. That's better. What I don't like, is it good for me? It is good, do it. If so, your idea of not following likes and dislikes should be, is it going to make me a better person? When I function like that, moving beyond raga and dvesha, likes and dislikes, automatically everything comes into level. Vishayan Indriya. So raga dvesha is not there, it's gone, and I am moving among sense objects. Now there is no phonetic attachment towards objects and beings. Contact is there. I'm contacting everybody, but there is no blind attachment. When blind attachment comes, the problem starts. So there is no blind attachment. It's just contacts. Whatever I like, what is needed to be done, and off you go. Many times when they talk like this, or when we talk like this, it is claimed that these people don't have emotions. It's not that. They will do everything required as per the situation. Only it doesn't touch them to the core. They understand all this is a game and they function accordingly. Therefore, their intellect is very, very much available. Raga, dvesha, likes. The most important thing in the world is to get out of likes and dislikes. That is the be all and end all, because that belongs to the mind. And once this is controlled, likes and dislikes, things become very easy. Vishayan indriyeshcharan atma vasher vidhe atma. That self-controlled man, that self-controlled. So self is the higher, that self is controlling me. That self-controlled man who controls his senses. So I am having a higher vision of life, the supreme reality. Because of that, I can easily control my senses. It becomes self-control. I've defined this to you. Self-control is stopping the mind from going into unproductive channels, taking that energy which is saved and putting it towards productive channels. This is self-control. So likes and dislikes are the major things. So in the Upanishads, in the Mahabharata, or Daivas and Asuras, there is this story of Amrit Manthan. Everybody must be knowing this. I'm just brushing it off. Amrit Manthan, where Deva and the Asuras both wanted Amrit. Amrit, why? Mrit, death. Amrit, no death. That doesn't mean I will not die. Mentally, there won't be any fear of death. Death represents change. So I will never be afraid of any change whatsoever. Corona, 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 ho gaya. No corona, no corona, done. Something else will come. Yes, something else. No afraid of any change. Deathless, that is Amrit. So both the gods and the demons wanted the Amrit. So they came together and said, listen, we are dying right, left, and center, and perennially we are fighting. Why not have a little bit of Amrit so that we can keep on fighting and nobody will die? This is fair enough. And then they get a mountain, they put it in the ocean, it is sinking, the mountain sinks, Mantara. So what happens is Vishnu comes as a tortoise to support the mountain as a substratum. So the mountain is there, the tortoise. Mountain is there, a big rope, the king of the snakes, Vasuki, is there, and Vasuki is wound up around the mountain. And the head one side, tail one side. And the Devas naturally go towards the head, where the Asura say, no, we will take the head. So Vishnu says, okay, let them take the head, doesn't matter. And Devas took the tail, the gods took the head, and they started churning. As soon as they started churning, poison came out of Vasuki, where half of the Asuras were choked. Still then, poison came out, churning was going on. Then from the ocean, poison came, the most poisonous poison ever. That's what they say in the Shastras. Halahal, it's called. And that was suffocating everybody on earth and the gods and the demons. So only one person could take it, Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva, who had done enough tapas in life, he comes and he just takes that Visha and drinks it. And therefore, he's called Neelakantha. He doesn't allow the wish to go to the heart. He doesn't allow the wish to go to the head. You should never be poisoned by whatever is happening around. Your head should be clear and your feelings and emotions should be clear. That's the meaning. And these asuras and devas churning is the likes and dislikes within the ocean of samsara. Then when everything goes right, Amrit comes, and then Amrit is distributed. What distributed? Mohini gives it all to only devas. But the fact is, Amrit comes. So this Amrit, this supreme knowledge of reality goes, who am I? It needs some churning. For that churning, you need the world. The world will present you with good experiences, with bad experiences, and you keep on churning. Nitya Anitya Viveka Vichara, says Adi Shankaracharya. Constantly thinking about what is real, what is unreal. And what is unreal, I will not allow it to touch me. I will not get affected because it is temporary in nature. And what is permanent in nature, I will take it up. When you focus on this self-control, Atma Vasher Vidhe Atma, the person who is controlled in himself. Control means whatever the situation, you face it. And you face it so brilliantly that it doesn't hurt you. There are so many stories where they have shown that the person is completely down the dumps and the person has come up again. King Bali was one. So many stories where they say the person has gone down and the person comes up again. One thing I would just recommend you, you can go to YouTube and take a story of this girl who used to play tennis long time back called Monica Seles. So you just go through the story where she was just 14-year-old. She came into the, I was just seeing that yesterday. She came into the field. She actually blasted over the field of tennis. By the age of 16, she won her French Opens, and so many titles she won that she could have easily become the best athlete ever, until a knifing incident happened where she was knifed in the back. And after that, she stopped playing. Then when she stopped playing after a year, I think so, her father got cancer, stomach cancer. He passed on, and her whole attitude towards life was, whenever, see, everybody has this go-to place. Each one, like I have a go-to place where I'm going for a run. So whenever I am agitated or even a little down, whatever it is, I'm never, but I'm just saying, then I immediately wear shoes and go for a run. Somebody goes for a dance, somebody goes for singing, some or the other go-to field is there. Her go-to field was tennis. Whenever she used to get agitated by the circumstances around, she used to go to tennis. And even tennis she can't play because of the knifing. It left a scar in her physical body, it left a scar mentally, and after father's death she was completely off. Then she took up into food binging. She just ate right, left and center. Eventually, after a lot of therapy, at that time, I hope she would have taken Vedanta. At the lot of therapy, 2 years, 3 years, 6 years afterwards, she came back, played tennis, won, I think so, a tournament, a Grand Slam, but still, she is with the world and she is teaching children how to play tennis. She is still full of life. Even at this age, I think so, she might be 35, 40 now. Even at this age, she is full of life. So why I'm giving you this story is, each and every human being has a fall. It's natural. Show me one person who's not hurt. There's this beautiful dialogue, Hum sab Ashwathama hai. We are all Ashwathama. We all have our open hurt. Like this, Ashwathama has got his hurt. Krishna removed his sattvic jewel as a Brahmana, and he just told her to roam around in the world. So he's an agitated person roaming around in the world. We are all Ashwathama. We have our own problems. The problem is, how do we get out of it? One step at a time. What is that one step? I want to be peaceful and happy. It's very simple. I want to be peaceful and happy. How can I be peaceful and happy? At present, my mind, my intellect, and my personality, my sense organs are all going naturally out into the world and constantly feeding on all the information, whatever is happening in the world around. It's just like taking in, like junk taking in. When all this junk is coming in, I never experience quietude in my life. It's noise, 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 24/7. First step, reduce the noise, reduce the running. Whenever you reduce the noise, the mind is a little vacant. It's little empty. And as soon as it is little empty, what happens? Halahal comes, poison comes. This person, this lady, that happened, this poison comes. Deal with that poison by eradicating it with knowledge. Knowledge of the higher. Don't make a statement, time heals. I've told this often in many classes. Time does not heal. What do you do during that time? That is what does the healing. So as soon as you have time, you are sitting and getting agitated, all this poison, then find an antidote in this knowledge and keep on brushing it off. What is the big deal? What is the big deal? Okay, this happened, so what? If that happens, so what? Big deal. You're still alive. You're still living. Sir, I got this. Fair enough. Move on. Every time the thought should be Atma. So this is what is important here. Raga dvesha viyuktaistu vishaya nindriyescharan atma vasher vidheyatma. That self-controlled person. Prasadam adhigacchati. Gacchati. He gets what? Prasad. When you go into temples, you look at the idol, close your eyes, do it. The pujari is there, then you show your hand. Why? Because the pujari can give you high five. You show your hand, the pujari immediately takes his kamandalu and gives you prasad. He immediately gives you prasad. As soon as he gives you prasad, you take it. What do? You take, close your eyes first, and then you are all right. This prasada represents all your prayer and all your activities in the world, whatever you are doing, whatever comes out of that is prasada. You don't see what you're getting. You don't see how much you are getting. You don't see whether anybody is respecting you for the job you're doing or not. You are not hurt about anything. Whatever comes, take it as prasada. That's as easy as that. Don't run behind anything. Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamate, Samprapte Sannihite Kale, Nahi Rakshati Dukrin Karne. Muda Jahi, that fellow is a fool. Dhanagama Trishna, who runs behind this illusion, Trishna of Dhana, money. Agama, when is it going to come? I got this offer. Is it okay? No. When it is, it will never end. The thirst will never end. Until you die, the thirst will never end. Mooda jahi dhanagama trishna kuru sadbuddhim manasi vitrishna. Cultivate in your mind this vitrishna. I don't want to get entrapped into any kind of illusion. And what is the biggest illusion? Biggest illusion is whatever is happening in the world with my near and dear ones and my assets and money, this is going to be the source of my happiness. That's the biggest illusion. Vitrishna. Then what do? Yalla bhase nija karmo utpatam. Yalla bhase, whatever, nija karma, my work gets me from the society, vittam, that money, whatever you get, tena vinodaya chittam, enjoy. Who said no? Your hard work you enjoy. But the thought should not come, this is what I want. That's the attitude. So, ragat, this whole attitude of self-control, vidheyatma, prasadam. Prasadam is this attitude. Children look at each other's hand, and then they say, I got Tulsi, you got that Sakaria, you got this. We diagnose the whole thing and they, तेरे को मैं देती हूँ, मैं तो इतना लेती हूँ. They keep on talking. Children communicate like that. They look at incentives. If I come first, what will I get? If I come second, what will I get? This is children, natural. Adults, those who have understood granthas, even granthas, those people who have studied, they are also comparing. My teacher is better than your teacher. So be it. My students are better than your students. So be it. Actually, our knowledge is better than your knowledge. It's okay. Prasadam adhigachati. Take every experience of life as it comes to you as prasadam. You remember this one line. You'll never be agitated in life. That line is, whatever comes in my life, I have no control. Whatever comes in my life, I have no control. But what to do with what comes in my life, I have complete control. Whatever happens in my life, I have no control. But what to do with what happens, 100%. There is no third party, second party, who is responsible for my cause. The agitation I am suffering, the responsibility wholly and solely belongs only to me, nobody else. Nobody in the world is responsible for my agitation. And it's only a fool who says the world is agitating. The world can never be agitating. The world will be there. It will be what it is. But you don't be agitated. Sorrows there shall be in the world. It's a beautiful quotation. Sorrows there shall be in the world, but suffering is optional. Whether I want to suffer or not is up to me. Let there be problems. So what? Ragadvesha viyuktaistu vishayanindriyaischaran. Keep on roaming around. Atmavashyer vidheyatma. That self-controlled person who is restraining his senses from going, prasadamadi gacchati. He lives beautifully. Next verse. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasyopadhyayate prasanna chetaso yashuhu buddhi paryavatishthate. In peace, in this prasadam, what happens? Prasade sarva dukkhanam hani. All the dukkhas get destroyed. No more sorrow. When this prasad comes being contended in the self, by the self, prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha atmanye atmana tushtah. When I am contended in the self by that supreme reality, there is no dukkha. All the dukkha is false expectation of this is what I did, but society did not respond in this way. All the dukkha, all the sadness, if you see, all the sorrows, it's always base is the transaction between what I did and what they did in the society. Either you are blaming people or you are blaming situations. But nobody is blaming, I am at fault. Once you get this prasada, I am responsible for everything. I am punished by my actions, not for my actions. I'm never punished for my actions. When you say for my action, there is some other party punishing me. Why did God do this to me? As if God has no other job. God doesn't do anything. I only do it. I take it in my head, therefore I get hurt. मेरे घर पे कचरा है, so I can't sit and cry, घर पे कचरा है. It is there, natural. Now take a broom and sweep it. Similarly, junk has collected in the head, take a broom and sweep it. Finished. As soon as you do that, prasade sarva dukkhanam hani rasyopajayate. In peace, all his sorrows are destroyed. And when the sorrows are destroyed, the intellect of such a tranquil minded person becomes steady. When the sense organs are completely under control, the mind is not readily going outside in the world for indulgences. You are happy being with yourself. You don't need to interact with the world at all. Therefore, all of us need to occupy ourselves with something or the other. Either television, either mobile, either running, walking, whatever, eating, every time some or the other occupation for the mind, because it should not be left alone. Here is a state where you can sit with your eyes closed or open, just doing nothing for half an hour. There is this beautiful movie called Karate Kid in the English. There is this dialogue. There is a great difference between doing nothing and mind remaining still. At least start with doing nothing. Eventually, you can sit easily 15 minutes, 20 minutes without the mind going anywhere, and it's experiencing complete peace. Nothing disturbs you. When the mind is not agitated for anything, to blame whom, what, to plan what, do all your planning. Coronavirus will wipe off everything. Doesn't matter, you plan. But keep a reservation saying that if this happens, so what? Ram Tirtha puts it beautifully in Hindi. Gar yo hua to kya hua, gar wo hua to kya. If this happened, so what? If that happened, so what? Big deal. Such a person's intellect becomes steady. No external motivations or maneuvers can change their pattern of thinking. Now they know what is right and what is wrong. So let 10,000 people blare into their ears wrong things, they will not listen. There will not be any deviation from their path. Why? Mind is no more agitated. It's like a calm place, calm river, or a calm ocean. Nothing disturbance. The intellect has become quiet, steady-minded. How did all this happen? Just a little bit of peace. That is the reason many people say meditate. When you close your eyes and meditate, you experience peace. It's temporary, don't do that. I'll explain to you why you should not meditate. The focus here is sit, every time relax, try to shut off the world as much as possible. And whenever you're interacting with the world, let it be, there is also a quotation, your body, again by Swami, great Swami Ram Tirtha, your body should follow the law of dynamics and your mind should follow the law of static. The body should follow the law of dynamics. So let the body function 24/7. Mind should be absolutely peaceful. When you reach this state, mind is no more agitated, intellect has become steady, you know what you have to do in life. There is this one king. I always end up with a story, so here's the story. Because majority of people listen to story better than anything else. Theory becomes a little much too much. The king in one of the kingdom was growing old. He didn't have any progeny. So he decided that I am dying anyway. I want somebody who can be the king. But I don't want to put that person blindly because he is my relative or he is my close courtier. So he decides on something. He says that person will have a big fair, a big mela, thousands will come and we'll enjoy, the stalls will be there. One person who can find me, because I will be hiding there in that fair incognito, in a different dress, so nobody will recognize me. That person, man or woman, who find me will become the next king. And the date was declared. After a month, that date declared, huge ground was booked. Thousands of stalls were there. A lot of playthings, eatings, entertainment, everything was free. And the whole country came inside with the view and with the attitude to recognize the king. As soon as they walked through the first stall, they saw a lot of ETs, free of cost. They are just giving, distributing. Other entertainment, the other games, everywhere. As soon as people went inside, they started indulging in it. Nobody could find the king except one person, one young boy. He just closed his eyes, went inside the ground with one hope that everywhere is going to see only where that king is. So he would go into every stall. He'll see everything, and where the two people are there in the stall, he will look at the person carefully whether he is the king. Then he'll go to another stall. He also visited all the stalls, just as others visited. All the stalls, 500, 600 stalls, the king was not there. Ultimately, he found, where is the king? Where is it? And there in far corner near the ground was a broken down temple. So he went inside the temple. There was a fat pujari there, and he was doing puja. He was doing arti. This boy was there with the idol. He did not even look at the idol because his one goal was to find out who this person is. I want to find out the king. So he told the pujari, please turn around. I want to see your face. I'm not interested in anything else. The pujari turned around, and it turned out to be the king. This is exactly how we live. That boy became the king. We also have come with a purpose. What is one singular purpose? Ram Tirtha says, your only mission in life is to be self-sufficient, self-poised, and self-pleased. Be happy. And do whatever you want to be happy. Just be happy. Relax. Take a chill pill or chillax. I don't know what name to use. Just relax. This is the attitude. Come live like a king. You have been given a brain. You have been given beautiful emotions. You have been given sense contacts. Enjoy the world, but understand this enjoyment is not the be all and end all of my life. Everybody is entered into this fair, and everybody is indulging in their own stalls. Some people are going into electronics. It's like a mall, you know. Some people are going for cars. Some people are going for money. Some people are going for jewelry. Some people are going for clothes. Whole life is only what to do, how much money I have, and what to buy. That's all. Everybody, and they can't even go through the whole shops. They are not seeing, because one, two indulgence, they get stuck there. And the main purpose is lost. Be like that boy. Go into every stall. Listen to everybody. Most of the wise people will always give you a singular direction of how to live a better life, how you can be better. Read books of great Mahatmas. Listen to great lectures where they are always prodding, how can this person become this? After such a fall, how can this person, even that Monica Seles, how can this person become this at that level? Keep your eyes open. Look at everything, but understand these are just the photographs moving around. They are not the reality. When you come face to face with your own true self, darshan, then you will see the world in its proper light. Until you see the world in its proper light, you can't relate with the world. When I am insane and I don't know who I am, how am I going to relate with anybody? They also don't know who they are. I am also not two mad people relating with each other. Find out who you are. Prasadam adhigacchati. When you become prasada, sorrows will get disappeared. After the sorrows will get disappeared, the mind will become calmer. When the mind becomes calmer, the intellect becomes one pointed focus and you reach the highest state. We'll continue next time. Thank you very much. Hari Om.